Hi, hello. Welcome back to Even More News, the first and only news podcast. I'm Katy Stoll.
I'll take your word for it, Katy Stoll. Hi, I'm Cody Johnston.
Johnston.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cody Johnston.
The first and only.
Of course, Jonathan is also here.
I'll take your word for it. Hi.
I never lie.
You say
never
so.
lie about that.
You're saying I'm here, so I believe you. You've got a trustworthy face. I don't look at the other guy. I don't know. You're trustworthy, yeah.
But also, how are you guys? How are you doing? How are you holding up? This is so that you can ask me that in return.
No, I'm gonna milk it first. It's been a tough week. My kid was sick again. It happens a lot, and it's nonstop.
And then you get sick.
We're sleeping better. We've moved, as you can tell.
No one
I'm
can
being
tell.
lit by natural light.
I can tell.
It really is kind of glossing over all these tabs I have up, which are all horrible news.
Well, you brought that down. Cody, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm a little tired, but I always am a little tired, so I'm good.
Katy,
Oh,
how are you doing?
Can I pump? Okay. I had a question too, but okay, it's fine.
I'm good. Thank you for asking. No, I just am, you guys already know this, but I'm going to tell the world. I really committed to myself, especially after this election, to developing hobbies and to trying to, live my life to the fullest. And I decided that I was going to start skiing this year. So I got a season pass, mountain, and it has been a disappointing winter in terms of snow, but I've still been getting out there, getting after it, as they say. And I had a real breakthrough on Monday, and I skied my first black diamond. And Nick, why don't we just show some video of that?
Oh my, that was incredible. Good job. I think she did great.
Congratulations.
Thank you, boys. Or Jonathan, not Cody.
I can't picture it because I've never been skiing, so
Nick, show him the video. Now, can you picture it?
Now, that's incredible.
Fine, we got holidays to celebrate. Friday, February 21st, National Boiled Peanuts Day. The heck? Okay, this is the first one. This is the inaugural NBPD. NBPD? Now it sounds like no big police department or something.
No Newport Beach Police Department? Nah, those guys don't deserve your praise.
Okay, founded in 2025 by Dixie Grace's Boiled Peanuts. What's the deal with Dixie Grace? Boiling peanuts has been a cultural practice in the southern U.S. since the 1800s, but has been widely growing in popularity across the country, too. No, it hasn't.
Citation needed.
Originally called goober peas.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Often referred to as the edamame of the South. I reject that. Is it?
I accept that.
I
accept
accept
I think
that.
that's a perfect name
South.
for it. Yeah.
The edamame of the South.
Yeah,
boiled peanuts.
I'd like to try some. It
That
sounds
sounds
good.
great.
Pretty disrespectful. Speaking of disrespectful, first thing on my list that I have in front of me is Elon's stuff.
Okay.
He's really trumped Trump in terms of the news space. This go around.
And that's in a week where Trump said he's a king and then boasted with a fake Time magazine that's a Trump magazine with a picture of him as a king.
If that was a magazine, that's what the cover would look like.
I guess. From the official White House.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, or maybe this was last week in the Oval Office press conference, he hinted that they've uncovered a bunch of waste and fraud in Social Security. And he's kept up with this throughout the week. He's saying that tens of millions of people who are supposedly dead in their 150s are still receiving benefits. His proof for that was a chart that has two columns, and the columns are age range and count. And there are people, not necessarily people, it just are numbers on this chart. That's like 150 to 159, and there's 1.3 million somethings there. And that was his proof that these people are receiving benefits, and thus they're, of course, dead. So what? So the Social Security Administration is stealing these benefits and getting rich off it?
Where would they
or
be
it's
going?
A million people who are using that to get the payments instead of the person that's still alive at that age or whatever.
Right. And he said this could be the biggest fraud in history. And
Could
he
be.
is either knowingly lying, probably, or extremely stupid, also probably. There are many articles that kind of put this into context. There are several things he got wrong and several reasons he may have been misinterpreting these numbers. One is that Social Security runs on an old coding system called COBOL, which sets the start date in 1875. So anytime there's not a death date listed or a birth date listed, it defaults there.
Or if they're not complete, yeah.
And also, there is something amiss with the Social Security database where a lot of old entries aren't culled from that database. When people die or when people don't have listed death dates, but they are definitely not receiving benefits, the Social Security Administration has been aware of that, and an Inspector General report from 2023 said, like, hey, this is a known problem, and we're probably not going to deal with it because it would be millions of dollars to deal with. It would take hundreds of person hours to fix it, and it's not really a big deal since the checks aren't going out and no one's getting.
They're not going out. No one's getting money. I think according to their like website, there's like 83,000 people over like 90 are actually
over 99.
Over 99 are actually receiving those checks.
On the one hand, it's so frustrating. You're either lying or dumb, some combination of both, but you're just wildly misrepresenting to try desperately to prove some fucking unfounded point. And come on, I understand it's very expensive and unwieldy to go through and cull the database and clean it up. But also it's like, this is how our system runs too. I do feel that way. That like we can't come up with something to clean out the database, but not use this as proof of something that's not happening.
Well, that's the thing. It's the game that's always played. There are like certain issues you could look into or fix or optimize, but it's all being presented as like fraud and waste. And I mean, I'm trying to keep up with it all. One of the big tells with a lot of Elon's and Doge's tweets about all this stuff are that they're just screenshots of like spreadsheets.
Right.
It's like the posting method is designed to not be clear and to just like, oh, here's a screenshot of like some form that no one like you've never seen, and it's got these codes and like this information, and I'm just gonna share it and say it's fraud, and people are waiting for that. They're waiting for the next tweet so they can be like, look at all the millions of dollars. But like, he doesn't understand the charts. The kids in Doge don't understand. They're not involved in these government systems at all. They're just coders. They don't get it.
And they don't know the coding language that this system was built on because, of course, Social Security is very old. So once they digitized everything, it was built on this old system. And I don't understand it. I'm not a coder. But anyone who's worked with this at all is chiming in. They're writing op-eds. They're online saying,
they're explaining it.
You don't know how this works whatsoever.
Just like this is what we've talked about for so long about this project that they're doing. You're just firing everybody for wokeness that gets rid of all of this knowledge, like all this institutional knowledge, all the things that they could have had explained to them very simply. But to have something explained to you means that you're stupid, and that can't be true. So you need to freak out and yell at everybody and fire them if they point out that you're wrong about something or that you don't understand something. So like it's by design.
Well, I'll just add, people are explaining it. You see people on Twitter, there's threads, people are interacting, and yet the amount of people that refuse to read or believe is astounding. And it's tough because, this is a barometer and a place that we can see how conversations are forming, but it's also not reflective of the real world. It is to a degree an element, but it's very scary. It's very scary to look at responses to common sense answers and be like, what is wrong? Or the amount of people that, like, well, Grok says this. It's fucking Grok.
Yeah, it's Grok 3 now, though. I've seen so many videos. I've been trying to collect them like little Pokemon. As soon as Grok 3 came
It's
out,
going to be worth something.
it's just screenshots of stupid tweets, so not really. So many accounts are like, look what I did with Grok 3 in 5 minutes. And every single one of them is some like version of Asteroid, the video game, your little ship, and you shoot like little...
Yes, Asteroid, the video game.
We're going to need that.
The ship is like the X logo or a picture of Elon Musk, and the little asteroids are like MSM and Facebook and Blue Sky or like the CIA or all this stuff. And there are so many of them on the first day. It's so funny. Like, look what Grok 3 can do. Oh, it can ruin asteroids in like multiple ways. Congratulations.
In terms of explaining, trying to explain to people how this works, I read this thread several times from James Surowiecki, who's a writer for The Atlantic and Fast Company, and he was trying to explain to some random person on Twitter, well, why is Elon wrong here? How would you explain these numbers? And he says, like, over and over, he's like, the numbers are publicly available. You can get that chart that he had, and it's like probably every person who's ever been issued a social security number or something. You can publicly look at who's actually receiving the benefits and how much those benefits are for. And it's just like, well, what if that's a lie? What if everything that every public agency has been releasing is a lie, and the number of people who believe that everything that's just publicly available on the website is a lie, and everything that Elon says has to be true. It's like no wonder he's able to crumble these institutions.
Yeah,
it's staggering, to be honest. These people that, yes, don't trust anything that's put out by the government on these websites. Enraged at Biden administration or anybody putting any sort of any amount of pressure about, let's say, how we talk about COVID or Hunter Biden, or just enraged at the government overreach onto your media sites. And you have Elon Musk actively altering how you receive your information, provably, verifiably, to his own admitting at times in that press conference that its stuff is wrong.
Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected.
And in having the keys to the kingdom, oversight over agencies that have direct conflicts with his personal businesses, and you don't give a shit? Then you never cared. Then you never, ever, ever, ever actually cared about this issue. And just admit it. Just admit it. That's where I'm at. Sorry, woo.
It's what's always been the case and obvious. It's just like it's so in your face now. Like that they don't care about any of this stuff at all. Yeah,
people are like, well, what motivation would Elon have to do this? He already has so much money. And obviously we can talk about like what motivates billionaires to make more money, but like, so you think it's just a coincidence that he's gutting all the agencies that were investigating his companies? Like, come on. Like, they're doing it out in the open. It's as obvious as anything has ever been.
It's just so obvious all the time, every day.
It's as obvious as him doing Sig Heil.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And they're all like, and they're using the federal government to like threaten like people for like being mean to Elon Musk on Twitter and stuff. They're going after advertisers and basically using like, I got this relationship with Donald Trump, so you better start paying for advertisers on X. It's all so absurd and frustrating. And they even the keyword thing, they canceled some like it's like $8 million or something for because the word Reuters was in it.
Thomson Reuters and Reuters, the news agency, they're like separate. So Thomson Reuters runs Westlaw, which is this legal research service that a lot of government agencies use. But since it had Reuters in there, and that's like the MSM, we're going to cancel that contract. Because people at the State Department might be subscribed to Politico. We don't need to do that. That's a waste of money. So let's cancel that subscription. That's stupid and probably a negligible amount of money, but okay, you're going to make people use the Internet Archive to get their news or whatever. But like this big legal research service,
You want that information.
I mean, I guess the law doesn't matter.
Even the Politico thing was like about like law, like bills being passed and legislation. Like it wasn't even like, oh, they're like subscription to like the Palace Intrigue that Politico is publishing. No, it's like this other portal. But they don't know what they're doing and they don't care to learn. And if they're pointed out they're wrong, they will ignore it, or in some cases change it in real time to be the truth that they originally said, even though it was false. And they're just like searching like, oh, the word Reuters. At one point, they deleted some tax form because it included the word equity in it because they thought it was a DEI thing. That's tax language, fucking people. Like, what are you doing? And they're doing these interviews together, and it's like, it's still weird. I feel like every other day there's a new interview with the president and his weird friend who's just there. Like, imagine an interview with Joe Biden and also like, here's George Soros in this interview with Joe Biden, or like Bill Gates with like Obama together all the time. It's so bizarre. Bro, you got a vice president.
I brought that up to someone and I was like, you would be losing your mind if this was George Soros. And they were like, if it was George Soros actually cleaning out government corruption? No, I don't think so. And I'm like, you lie! You are lying to me.
Also,
And
and again, this isn't the first time we've mentioned it. It's not the first time anybody will mention it. We're not the first to say it. Oh, you're rooting out a lot of fraud and waste. Arrest a person for fraud. Charge a person with fraud. You keep saying this is fraud. That has a definition. That's a legal claim. You're claiming that there's all this fraud.
Well, if they were going to arrest people for fraud,
Show
they'd have
it.
to start with the fucking president.
Show it.
We have barely even scratched. We've already diverged so wildly
I
from
know.
our laid
It's
script.
just,
Well, because everything we're talking about is an example of the rot. And that's the subject of this podcast now indefinitely, is the rot.
Yeah.
Everything we're going to be bringing
New name
up
of the
is
show,
just
The
like,
Rot.
Well,
Actually,
because
God.
he's corruptly like making it the law that you have to advertise on X, or else he's gonna torpedo your merger in the marketing space or whatever. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
But it's going to be, there's going to be more things. It's going to be the law that you have to advertise on the website of the guy who the Grima Wormtongue. What if Grima Wormtongue owned 6 companies?
yeah, like he's, God, Grima Wormtongue of Rohan.
I mean, here's another example. They posted the receipts finally on the Doge.gov website.
Oh, good.
They said they've saved American taxpayers $55 billion. No, they haven't, because they're not giving it to us. Put the wall of receipts on its website, but a lot of that came from something they said was $8 billion, but it was really $8 million. And I think, like, I went down and found the
big
actual
mistake.
item in the list, and that thing in the list says $8 million, but they haven't corrected, the last time I checked, the $55 billion.
Well, why would you?
Sounds legit
Who
and
cares?
transparent.
It doesn't matter. People heard the number first, so that's the number it is. It doesn't matter if that's not the number. You heard it there first. It's like so much of this is like publicly available information. Like the whole idea, like there's like this secret fraud. They're posting screenshots from usaspending.gov. Like that's how they're finding this out. Sorry, we're moving on.
Hi, it's Katy. Let me tell you about my ideal winter night. It starts with some jammies, and then I light candles, and I make a giant plate of nachos. The good kind, you know, with cheese. But the most important part is that I then slip into my set of Bowl and Branch sheets. Guys, I'm being real with you. These sheets are the absolute best. In fact, honestly, just look right there. Room tour. Look at these dang sheets. They're so beautiful and so breathable and comfy, which is good because your girl is a very hot sleeper. Also, this is a small but crucial thing that I truly love and appreciate. When you are selecting your sheet size, you get to pick a different size pillowcase. So, you know, if you have a king size bed but standard size pillows, you aren't wasting your money on a case that your pillow will literally never grow into. Why do we do it like this, folks? Anyway, the best part is that these sheets actually get softer with each wash, which is good because I got to get all that nacho cheese off. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, my friends, it just makes for the coziest bed you can imagine. And that's because Boll and Branch products are made different. Specifically, their sheets are crafted by artisans who are paid an actual living wage and woven with the finest organic cotton on this scorched earth. I said it and I stand by it. Seriously, I love these sheets. I sleep so much better when my bed is buttery and warm and yet breathable and soft and my belly is full of nachos and cheeses. And now is your chance to change the way you sleep with Boll and Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/SMN. That is Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/SMN to save 15% off. Exclusions apply. See site for details. Get on this, folks. It's great. And don't sleep on those nachos either. You don't want to sleep on them because that makes a huge mess. But it's okay because then you can wash them. There are no problems in the world.
Oh, look at Cody. You know, when I think about businesses that are just boffo from top to bottom, I think of Gymshark. America loves Gymshark. But we're not here to talk about that website about, one assumes, a shark named Jim. We're here to talk about the secret to Jimmy's success. That is Shopify. Ah! No, get it out of here. The bells are coming. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They have the number1 bestest. It says bestest. Checkout on the planet. The entire planet. Do you know how big this planet is? That is huge news. This planet, it's big. Okay, I alluded to it earlier. It's a big planet. And with their shop pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, your business will get way fewer abandoned carts and way unfewer sales. That's Moxie. Listen here. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. So if you're a growing business or some kind of marine life, you should absolutely check them out. Jim did, and look at his success. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Gymshark uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/more news. All lowercase. Again, go to shopify.com/more news, all lowercase, to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/more news, all lowercase. Don't type all lowercase. Type more news in all lowercase. You know?
How's the White House social media going? I know we mentioned our Long Live the King fund, but what else have they put out lately?
Bad
I know
stuff.
the answer. Bad stuff.
What it shows is migrants being shackled and led onto a plane to be deported, and there is some clinking of shackles in there, so I guess that's the ASMR bit. Hilarious. No, this is disgusting, and they're trying to normalize seeing these images.
They're making it cute and sweet. It is truly disgusting. Like, even ignoring, like, obviously they're on a tear on social media, like saying the King tweet, that Napoleon quote about how basically Trump is the law. But this is particularly disturbing. It would be still gross, and maybe even more, but maybe like more expected if it didn't have the ASMR angle. Like, I'm not surprised that they're like, look, we're like getting rid of them, and they're doing like these videos that would be horrific to see and would have this sort of like violent undertone and be not fun to watch. But the fact that they're like doing it and being like ASMR deportation style, they like, that is actively trying to normalize it and make it seem cute and good and sweet and nice and fun.
They're trying to make it funny in some way. Like,
yes, they are trying to
funny.
desensitize people to it and make it seem like this is a normal, fine thing to do. And these people can be treated this way.
Also, isn't ASMR part of the allure of ASMR videos, or like like a masturbation thing, right?
It can be, but
It
it's
like
can
not
be. It
exclusively
is.
that.
It is. It's not. Some people just like that ear tickle, but anyway,
A lot of it is
just,
the ear tickle and the nice sounds. They're like, oh, the shaving of the soap sounds.
the
Some
clinking
it's
of chains
not
on
for
concrete.
just jerking off. Let's be clear.
I don't know how else to, like, I say a thing like, oh, this is dehumanizing and awful, and it's trying to normalize this dehumanization. And then I feel like I should say that again with more emphasis because, like, now what?
It feels like it needs to be said over and over and over again after everything, that it feels also as if it's losing its meaning in some sense, as if I'm just repeating these words, but it has to be said. We have to be aware of what's happening. It's not going to stop. They're ramping up. I'm sure they're testing the waters to see how it goes over. And it's, it's horrifying. And yes, it's dehumanizing. And we can't get used to it.
Yeah, it's really messed up, just like straight up fascist propaganda. And even if you want these mass deportations now, what are you doing listening to this show, first of all? But also couching it in this genre is like so blatant and damaging. And like an unboxing video of like this fucking coffin. Like it's just like, it's so gross.
And then there's this this story of migrants being deported and put in a camp, a remote jungle camp in Panama, and the conditions sound horrific.
Migrants who aren't from Panama, by the way.
That's what I was getting at. One of these quotes, it's like, it looks like a zoo. There are fenced cages, said one deportee, a 27-year-old migrant from Iran. They gave us a stale piece of bread. We're sitting on the floor. Conditions at the site are primitive. The detainees said diseases, including dengue, are endemic to the region, and the government has denied access to journalists and aid organizations. What are we doing? These people aren't even from Panama. The fuck?
That's what we're doing. That's why we're doing it.
And some of these people who are being shipped to other countries that they've never been to are going to die, and those numbers have to be in the death toll of this administration.
Yes.
When all is said and done, in 20 years, the historians have to count these people as people that they've slaughtered.
Historian Grok 5 here to analyze.
Yes, it is plausible that the Trump administration has started genocide.
Although I've seen so many like people use Grok to like explain stuff, and sometimes they use it to be like, "Oh, Grok, is this bad?" And like, yeah, it actually is. Like they're trying to do propaganda using Grok, but then Grok's like, "No, it's actually like really bad. What's going on?"
Good for Grok.
Maybe Grok will get more woke. Yeah, this is all just it's been 1 month to the
It feels
day.
so long.
And the idea that they're already doing stuff like this, and they're just like finally like getting their full like cabinet together and like all their ducks in a row, and seeing not just what they're doing already, but sort of like it's all indicators of where it's going, and it's obvious where it's going.
This is depressing.
Yeah.
Before we move on, because there are a few other things I know we want to talk about, he is starting to slip in the polls. Not that it matters. Not that he's running for anything ever again. He's going to declare himself president for life. We get it. But like, people are, and you know, this isn't just anecdotal. His numbers are dropping. He's 8 points underwater on the economy, which is what people elected him to
That's
fix.
the reason.
You know, he's only up 1 point on immigration, and it's disgusting to think that half the country approves of this. They're probably not reading the quotes we just read, or they think those people deserve it, etc. But on everything else, they don't like the Musk stuff. They don't like that he's letting a group of random people gut the federal government. They don't like that they're losing their jobs and their benefits. I'm not saying they're going to impeach him because of how unpopular he is, but like, his numbers are going to go back down into the 30s. He's not going to be a guy that people like.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, this is, said it before the election that he won, but like, he is unlikable and bad president. And people saw that and in the first term eventually, and we're already heading towards that point. So much of his win, aside from all the other stuff we've talked about to death, I guess, is just that, like, yeah, you've kind of forgot. It's been a long time, and he went away for a while, and then he came back, and like we were like, oh, so tired of Joe Biden, or whatever your opinion is, and all the reminders are coming back. He's a bizarre person who doesn't know what he's talking about most of the time, and he's like, yeah, all the Musk stuff obviously too, but just like every step of the way. And like, you know, we have Sean Duffy from The Real World is in charge of, people don't talk about that much. He is from The Real World. He's the Department of Transportation head now, and the other day he was on one of the news channels, and he was like, you know, some people are getting fired and like getting let go. And, you know, some of these people, they're good people who voted for Trump. Well, that's how this is going. Like they're just saying out loud, like, if you voted for Trump, you're a good person, and we don't want to hurt you. We want to let you go. And I think that they're just, the apparatus and the project that they have can't avoid that. You're not going to go through everybody like, well, who did you vote for? Maybe they will eventually, and then like, I don't know what we're going to do, but like, that's not part of the plan.
From international waters or whatever.
Gosh, renting some boats.
Jesse Waters did the same thing last night. Yeah, my friend got fired.
A nice man, veteran, this and this. Yeah, that's the project that you've signed up for. And I know you don't want to admit that, but your whole goal is to hurt everybody. But like, you're realizing, oh, some people I know are going to get hurt. That's how it works. And I don't know, maybe people will see that.
Yeah, people forgot, but also there were more guardrails, and it's worse. People reflect. They're like, I know he was unpleasant. And I don't know, ultimately it was a lot of noise, and did he do anything that bad? That was a question. And it's like, well, I guess that depends on how you want to look at it. Did your life get measurably worse? This is a different beast. This is a different animal. This is a completely different situation, and you will get affected. They had a plan. They tried to distance themselves from it, but it was always the plan. And so, you know, it feels different because doing a bunch of shit that a small percentage of his voters do want.
Yeah.
You know, but whenever I hear there was a mandate, no, there wasn't. There was not a mandate for this. Also, again, we'll just keep reiterating this all till I die, I guess. It's just that he won by fewer votes than he lost in 2020.
Yeah.
This is not about him having a mandate at all. It doesn't really matter at this point because he's in power, and there's, as we've already established ad nauseum, there's not much recourse we have other than our, you know, judicial system.
Yeah, there's no mandate. It wasn't a majority of the voters. The margin was not that huge. It wasn't like a blowout. It was a blowout in terms of like the electoral college victory, I suppose. But like, we're already seeing so many people, aside from the tweet literally from the man himself saying like, I am the law, ostensibly. Every interview with the president and his weird friend that nobody likes, that weird friend says stuff like that. Like, well, you know, if he represents the will of the people and they voted for that, and he's not doing this and this and this and this, then we're not doing the will of the people. And you're like, they're combining him with the will of the people and making them one thing and making him the law as well, because it's a fascist cult. And then that's what
Elon said, he next to Trump, I think on Hannity this time or something, where he's like, well, if the executive gets elected and that's the will of the people, and then he can't do what he wants, then that's not a democracy. And it's like, dude, you are just describing not our Constitution. Sorry, bud. Don't know what to tell you. We got a Constitution, and it works this way.
It's so, it's like really transparent and gross, and also like, it is a little scary that they keep trying to push this idea that he is like the law and above the law, and he is the country. And that's just not true. But Elon, you should look up there to like, oh, if this doesn't happen, then this isn't democracy. It's a constitutional republic, bro. It's not a democracy. Like, isn't that your favorite fucking thing to say to anybody who points out anything about democracy? Not that that matters or will change anything or make anybody pause and think about it, but like, it is frustrating to see that too, of like, that's not democracy. Yeah, we have a constitutional republic, which is a form of democracy, and we have these checks and balances to make sure the thing you're doing doesn't happen. Maybe they're not really effective right now, but just depressing myself talking about this.
What's the update with Ukraine, Jonathan?
Oh, boy.
Peaceful negotiations with all parties and reasonable actors.
Well, they're the aggressors. They shouldn't be involved.
Yeah, it's a big party and everyone's
Ukraine.
invited, but
Yeah.
Ukraine is...
The aggressors, so they shouldn't be involved.
The U.S. and Russia have been having negotiations to end the war without Ukraine, and Trump has been criticizing Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky online and blaming Ukraine for starting the war, which they didn't. Russia invaded Ukraine 3 years ago this week, I believe. Trump said you should have never started it. You could have made a deal. He called Zelensky a dictator without elections. And Zelensky did suspend elections while the war is going on.
I'm not an expert on everything Ukraine. That's not my wheelhouse. And, you know, elections are very, very, very important. And you're in the middle of a war. I actually don't know how, and he won very overwhelmingly in his last election. I actually don't know the logistics of how you have an election in the middle of a war zone. I suppose it's possible.
When your
it just
country's
sounds,
invaded.
When your country's been invaded and, you know, everyone's dying and it's also a very expensive thing. I don't know. There can be an argument about that, but he's not a dictator and his country was invaded. His country was invaded.
Yeah. Also, Trump doesn't care about that.
No, thank you. That's actually what I was building to.
He doesn't care. Why are you saying that,
Please,
buddy? You
long
don't care
live
about
the
that.
fucking
Like,
king.
Give me a break. What are you talking about? You don't give a shit.
He would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you want to be you're like.
Yeah, they should have elections.
They should absolutely have elections.
Regardless of any internal domestic thing that we don't like that Zelensky's doing, there's lots of dictators around the world and we don't like topple them. Especially we don't like give our support to the bigger actual dictator in Russia, has a bunch of sham elections, who is the aggressor in this, who's not an ally of the United States, although I guess we're gonna... I don't know. We're becoming...
Putin is a monstrous person.
And there were a bunch of lies that Trump told in his big Truth Social thing. He said that Zelensky talked the United States into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won. And he suggested that like he had to talk Biden into giving money. One, it's not $350 billion. You can go online. It's publicly available. UkraineOversight.gov. I guess we're all lying. The idea that we would lie and say that we've given $183 billion, but you can't say $350 billion. That would be too far for people. And that's the lie? No. You could just go online and see that we have funding totals, nearly $183 billion, with $130.1 billion obligated and $86.7 billion dispersed, the vast majority of which was appropriated by Congress, which does not care anymore that their authority has been taken away because they're afraid of being shot by Trump supporters.
Or Trump himself, because apparently he could do it in the street and no one would care.
Oh, that old gem, yeah.
Still waiting for that day. Do you think it'll be Elon on Fifth Avenue? Do you think that's what it's going to be? That's where it ends.
They'll have to sell tickets
I love
to
that.
Yeah. He finally puts it to the test with his new best friend.
I love that in this he still snuck in. We have a big, beautiful ocean of separation. Don't love it. I'm just like the ramblings of this man.
He's still a funny monster.
Well, what is I don't know what the strategy here is. I don't know how this is.
Yeah, he likes the Putin and he wants to please him. So he's going to try to give him everything he wants, and he wants to basically push away all of our allies and antagonize them while allying with authoritarians across the world, because that's what he is and wants to be.
And then he thinks he can get credit for ending the war. I did the thing that Joe Biden
and he'll
couldn't
send
do.
out an ASMR war-ending video or whatever it is and be like, look, I did it. I'm the king. Remember, I'm the king.
It just is all so upside down that we have a Republican Party here that wants to cozy up to Russia.
Well, they don't necessarily want to, but
they
they're
are.
they're gonna let it happen, and they're gonna cheer, and they're gonna clap like little seals, and they're gonna hope that their king recognizes them and gives them a little treat.
There's an article that the New York Times published a little bit ago called "In Private Remarks on Russia, Rubio Tries to Reassure Europeans."
There it is. There it is.
Because he has his public thing, and he trumpeted, quote, the incredible opportunities that exist to partner with the Russians. But hours later, he sought to reassure nervous European allies that the talks did not represent an abrupt departure from American policies. Okay.
And we believe you because you're not a liar.
Why did you say the other thing? Everyone's so nervous.
Well, and all of this is also what just happened this weekend. J.D. Vance, gave a speech in Germany at the Munich Security Conference, saying that the biggest threat to the world and to Europe is mass migration, and again, the threat from within. Saying that they should be embracing the far right-wing parties, ones that, have a bunch of Holocaust denialism baked in. You are giving this speech in Germany.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is the same speech or a different one at the same time, but basically urging people, I think it's the same speech of, Russia isn't your biggest threat.
Is it wokeness?
Yeah.
What was the real enemy? Is
wokeness. I don't know if it's wokeness, but essentially that liberalism, migration, the enemy.
Yeah, they're
within.
illiberal. They're an illiberal authoritarian party.
Again, in Germany.
Yeah.
I just cannot believe. I can believe it, but it is hard to accept that this is where we're at. And again, that was a Sig Heil that Elon Musk gave.
Oh, well,
and
Katy,
can just keep reminding people of this.
No, it wasn't a Sig Heil. It was 2 Sig Heils.
Thank you. 2. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I misspoke.
Let's get our facts straight, please.
Anyway, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Wrong.
Thank you.
Some of the things we say are going to be wrong, and they should be corrected immediately.
They should be corrected immediately, and we will correct them immediately. We will show the receipts on our
Doge.
On our own Doge. We've got our own Doge, and we've got our receipts. You can check them all out. They're real.
It weird that he is using modern slang, like show the receipts, like we all intuitively would know what it means, but no one said that more than 5 years ago, and now Elon's like, I'm just like you see.
Oh yeah, he's so unplugged, like he's desperate to be plugged in. He's constantly plugged in. He's tweeting like 400 times a day now, but he's so unplugged actually, and out of the loop. It is very at least there's that. At least he's
at least there's that.
It'd be
huge
funny
fucking loser.
If
but
he's like a little bit behind on the slang, where he's just like Trump is bae.
I mean, he named it Doge, so
yeah,
it is. My new assistant, Harambe, like a great man.
I think we've done it.
I think we've keyboard catted this all the way to the moon.
My Doge workers on fleek.
I hate this part of the show.
Yeah,
I
it
hate
sucks.
him. I hate it. Well, do you guys want to see another drawing? Here's a picture of me skiing on a black diamond.
Look at that. It's just like the video.
What we should do is you should show a drawing every week, and then we should read the worst headline behind it. So
I was going to say, could we sandwich this? Like, show you a little drawing, and then I'll mention that the Trump administration has announced that it will kill Medicare coverage of most telehealth services on April 1st. But look at this drawing.
Look, if I move it around like this, it looks like I'm skiing.
It does. It does. I thought you were.
Pole placement is important.
It is important.
You got to keep your hips straight,
You
even as you're turning.
Straight, even if I was.
You got to
say
get
that.
those edges dug in.
Get the edges dug in. 2 more. Skip
And most
the
of all,
last.
2 more. Skip the last.
Bacon is life.
We did it.
That's right.
Hey, except that I have to tell you guys with sincerity,
Yeah.
we love you very much.
Chocolate rain. With much.